I'm feeling like a hater today, and because we're literally halfway through the decade, I was like, let's rank all the trends so far. Yeah, I thought this would just be a fun, lighthearted video. At the end of the day, you know what I say, you do you, boo. I'm gonna definitely let you know what I think. This video popped up on my homepage and it is by Tessa, and I love the idea of this, and she did end up linking her ranking tier, so I was like, you know what, I'm definitely gonna chime in. We're using her ranking tier, which is the first one being timeless. To be honest, I don't feel like anything can be timeless because of course fashion is very subjective, but I will say there is certain fashion trends that do sometimes, you know, have a longer longevity than others. So for sure, I think we're gonna leave it like that. Second tier is we can make it work, which is I feel like is another one where we do see a lot of like revisionist trends. Here, for instance, I see a trend that you could probably see in the 90s, but then it is like modernized for, you know, the new decade. So I definitely feel like a lot of these trends can go here. Third tier is ya basic. That is such a millennial term. I'm sorry, y'all. And I think we all know what basic means. I don't think it's a relatively bad thing, but it's just something you'd be like, yeah, that's basic. I don't know. The next one is please touch grass, which Tessa explains that for her, it's kind of like, these are the trends that are like of its time. Like you can tell this was from 2020, you know what I mean? The last one is the micro trend final boss. And I feel like if you've heard this term, I think it kind of shows a specific time frame. It's actually a little bit, probably the most ridiculous trends that I would say, when it's very obvious that it is something that is basically chronically online. Now that you know what the tiers are, let's get started. Oh my god, yeah. But first, let's talk Dossier. They create high quality perfumes inspired by designer fragrances, but at the fraction of the cost. Instead of paying over $200 for a name brand bottle, Dossier lets you get the same luxury scent for under $50. Every perfume is made with premium ingredients, vegan, cruelty-free, and designed to be long-lasting. When you order, you'll get a sample, and if you're not completely happy with the scent, you can return it. They have dozens of options, from fresh to clean everyday scents to something more rich for a night out. And if you're not sure what kind of scent you like, you can take a quiz online. So check the link in the description to shop Dossier, and let's get into the video. Okay, the first trend we're starting off is Sambas. I feel like Sambas have been a very popular shoe and continue to be a popular shoe throughout the whole 2020s. What's really cool is that Sambas come in a variety of different colors, so I feel like you're bound to find a colorway that you enjoy. I do own some Adidas. I will say I do not own Samba specifically, but I feel like with shoes, there's certain silhouettes that do come back, and I think Sambas is one of them. You know, it's not my personal like favorite type of tennis shoes. I will say that I do feel like we can make it work. I also think of it kind of like the Puma Speed Cats. These were very popular in the 2000s, and then they kind of just resurface again, and so I feel like Sambas is the same thing. The next trend I want to talk about is the Sanning Liang like flower scrunchie. I feel like accessories really make or break an outfit, and let me tell you, this floral style is probably one of my favorites. It's definitely a motif in my ceramics. I feel like this specific like hairpiece has only been worn for a limited time. The people who did buy it were wearing it consistently and have been wearing it consistently, but I feel like there was definitely a peak where you saw multiple people styling this specific hairpiece, and then it definitely fell off. So this, I want to say it's basic, but I don't think it's something that is long lasting. So next trend is like these cutout two-piece sets, definitely inspired by Euphoria. It's famously worn by Maddie Perez's character on that show. I want to say that for this specific trend, I feel like it's definitely something of its time. Rarely saw people actually wore this trend in real life. I want to say that this is definitely micro trend final boss. The next trend we're going to talk about is bag charms. I love the idea of bag charms. We really enjoy how people really personalize pieces for themselves, and the creative aspect of fashion is that the way you slowly personalize things for your own style. However, I do feel like it was taken too far because certain brands started to sell these specific charms all together. Love the Jane Birkin style bag because it was really personalized to her lifestyle and what she enjoyed. I do think that this is something like, yeah, basic. I just think it was taken over the top, that I do think that it kind of lost its sentimental value. No, will I put a charm here and there in my bag? Maybe, but I'm just someone that just would rather put a bandana over her bag. The House of Sunny dress. Wow, I'm not gonna lie to you and tell you that I don't have 2 House of Sunny dresses in my closet right now, and they're exactly from this era. It's just so fascinating because I feel like this was the start of the pushing a trend to very micro trend. Like, trends can just cycle so fast. And even though I own these style dresses and still wear them, I do think it's a micro trend final boss. It is very specific to a time. Like, you see this dress and you know when it came out, you know when people were wearing and styling this. It's just like a very, like, the beginning of cycling fashion so fast online, I feel like. Okay, another shoe, and it is ballet flats. I don't even think I need to even explain it, but I feel like ballet flats are timeless. They've been around for decades. Even though there has been different variations of ballet flats and even a time where I feel like more people were wearing ballet flats, I still think overall this style of shoe is a very classic, like, simple shoe, because you can take this style and make different moderations of it that can vary on what kind of style you like. But I think ultimately it's a very timeless staple in anyone's closet. Another accessory we're going to talk about is the Vivienne Westwood necklace. I feel like this is a piece you definitely saw being duped a lot. And for it being Vivienne Westwood and being a piece that cost over $200 to $300 for costume jewelry, I'm sorry, I have to say, please touch grass. I can understand why a lot of people were looking for the specific dupe, but at the same time, this is a 200 plus piece that is costume jewelry, and maybe the quality was better, but at the end of the day, I think spending that much on costume jewelry isn't worth it, y'all. I'd rather like save up to buy real gold or silver, or even like sterling silver in that case. Next trend we're going to talk about is the Valentino like pumps. These shoes can be practical in the sense of like they're platforms, usually platforms. They're easier to walk in. I want to say that these are another like please touch grass. I still feel like I've seen people wear these shoes actually in real life, so I don't want to say that it's like a micro trend that kind of stayed on the internet. Okay, the next one is another dress that is viral for its time, and also it's just a very indicator how one specific piece can really blow up and really change people's perspective. And this is definitely a dress where I have seen in person at thrift stores, meaning they're dupes, hundreds of times. The famous strawberry dress by this specific designer. I am not even going to try to say their name because I would definitely butcher it. And this specific brand, what I like about it too is that they really showcase how they put their pieces together, a lot of like behind the scenes. So I want to say that this is micro trend final boss. Okay, so the next trend is this specific hairstyle. I can't tell you how much I really wanted to tie my hair in this way as well, because I thought it was so cute. I really enjoy when people have fun with their hair. However, I will say there was an inflection of people having this specific hairstyle, and you know what, to this day I still think we can make it work. Okay, the next trend is colorful tights. Tights in general is a very universal, classic, timeless piece. Essentially, you could personalize your outfits with tights in the same way you can accessorize with your makeup, your jewelry, and hair. I want to say that colorful tights can be timeless. This Brandy Melville cowgirl top, to me, this seems like a basic graphic tee that you can find in various different styles. Specific reason, I'm gonna say Yeah, basic. The Balenciaga bag, fake creators buy these bags. There was even like videos of like, come with me to buy this specific bag. And it was one of those bags that came in various colors. The first bag that I saw that had that little extra charm, if you will, shaped mirror with it. There's been so many bags that have the similar silhouette of the straps of this bag, but I feel like this was one of the most crossbody slash shoulder bag that people would purchase, and a lot of it looked like it was in patent material. For the price of this bag, again, for a material that is patent, I'm gonna say please touch grass. The platform Uggs, I don't think this style of shoe needed to be platformed, so I want to say that this is, yeah, basic. I still see people actually wear these in real life all the time, especially because I feel like loungewear and activewear is very common. It looks like it's a very practical shoe for people. The next one is capris, and I do have my own biases with capris because I do wear them. However, I do think that capris have shifted so much. I think it's because I feel like capris in the early 2000s were more just like a black capri, and I feel like nowadays we're seeing more prints. I want to say that this is definitely, we can make it work. I don't want to say that capris are timeless, even though I do feel like they'll be timeless in my own wardrobe. I feel like when they start mixing like different patterns and silhouettes together, it tends to be very like specific to a time. So that's the only thing that for me I feel like can be overly trendy. Bloomer shorts, and I am a big fan of bloomer pants. This is a thing where we take one item and we just blow it out of proportion. Also, I'm just gonna leave it there. Okay, the next one are these like harness boots, which were popular by Miu Miu, and Steve Madden is one of those that really duped this style shoe. These combat boots, besides the fry boots, everywhere. Let me tell you, I've seen these in person very often. This shoe, there's so many different options out there that I didn't think you really needed to buy this specific style. Like for instance, yes, I have fry boots, and look, it's the similar silhouette of that shoe. Maybe it doesn't have all the buckles, but they're still square toe, like the same style. Even these ones that kind of look more like a fry boot, but they're not. These are actually, I believe, from like Sears in the 90s. Broken. But like, you know, there's so many different variations of these style of combat boots. I didn't think you specifically needed to get these exact ones. So I'm just gonna say that we can make it work. Next thing is an oversized blazer, and you already know a blazer for me is timeless. The next one is phone charms, and I guess similar to the bag charms, I feel like they're very cute. Are they practical? No. Whenever I did have these style of charms on my phone, every time I would try to record, it would be very loud, or I also feel like even just taking a photo, they would get in the way, and it wasn't always the best to like put on as a bracelet because I also feel like it was so heavy to hold in on my wrist. Yeah, basic. I do like how they're very personalized to you, but they're not practical. So this one is called like Subversive or something like that. And I'm sorry, just looking at it, I want to say it's a microtrend final box. Next is a CB dress. I've seen so many different try-ons of this dress, and each person that wore it looked amazing. I personally haven't styled it myself, and I think overall it is a timeless silhouette and it works on everyone, so I'm just gonna leave it there. There is certain jerseys I still have in my closet to this day, and I do feel like there was a specific way people were styling this, which was doing a lot of the juxtapositions, which I do feel like could work, but I won't say that I think it's timeless or basic, so I want to say it's something that we can definitely make it work. Fun like hats, they're not sure exactly where they came from, but I do think they're really fun and add a little playfulness to an outfit. But it's definitely something I personally don't see myself wearing, and so I'm just gonna say, yeah, basic. Haters, you can come in because I know you're gonna leave me in the comments about the tabbies, and let me tell you, I don't get you because I love them. So for me, it's a timeless. I don't need to explain myself. Next trend is the bleach brows. I think it can definitely work on so many people, and I think when it comes to like having fun with hair, literally your hair and your eyebrows is very cool. Yeah, I do think it's something that we can make it work because it's very individualized. Next one are these like furry bags. I actually have one. I do like how they feel. I do think that it is a micro trend final boss. I don't think I see these a lot often. If you like it, you wear it, you have it. I just feel like it's a very of its time. This one is bows. Bows is the new 2020s mustache. I'll say it's basic for sure. It's for sure a basic silhouette. Okay, this like famous like heart sweater, I want to say it was like definitely something that I saw more online and really duped. The price on this was very expensive for it being polyester. It's too expensive for it was, and I do think it was just very micro trend specific. Next are these silver chrome like glasses. I'm gonna immediately say they're timeless because I feel like sunglasses are shapes of eyewear. I don't think there's a specific frame style that's going to stay in a specific time, all down to preference. And so I just feel like for me it's timeless, and it's going to be the same with me with the Bayonetta glasses. I do think that it went a little bit crazy with people who didn't need to wear glasses trying to wear glasses for this specific style. So for that reason, I do think it was a little bit over the top. If you're someone who wears glasses and loves the silhouette, I feel like it's a very timeless silhouette. I mean, I'm someone who wears glasses, so I wore this style in like 6th grade. I don't even think I need to explain, but cowboy boots are gonna be timeless as well. Like, there's just a style of boots, either you don't like to wear them or you do. Trend is this like Lululemon jacket. It's very popular, especially in the active loungewear area, because I'm not one who stays in loungewear or activewear. So for me, this is definitely a please touch grass, because I also think that the Lululemon charges so expensive for activewear. I know people say that the material is great, but at the end of the day, the material isn't an organic material. So for me, it's please touch grass. Why is it that expensive? So the next is the heart necklace, and I feel like it's a very simplistic like statement piece. As you can see, I'm wearing my own kind of statement jewelry piece. So I feel like there is a lot of pieces like this. So for that reason, I'm gonna leave it at timeless, because the silhouette is simplistic, it's basic, it's not over the top. On the contrary though, the charm necklaces, I'm gonna say yeah, basic, because I love the idea again of charms, this whole like personalization or personalizing pieces to you. But I feel like what ended up happening is that, you know, brands came in and started selling these like charm necklaces that had no personalized characteristics for the person who was buying it. I feel like when it came to these charm necklaces, it's all about curation. When you take away that curation part of it and creativity of it, yeah, it's not fun. So actually, instead of y'all basic, I'm gonna take it to please touch grass, because at the end of the day, it just took away that personal touch. I actually owned one of the House of Sunny cardigans. I really enjoyed it. I love the pattern, and I love that it was a cardigan. So to me, it was a piece that I can definitely make it work. But I actually ended up giving it to It's Your Homegirl, because the colors and pattern was more up her style, and I feel like she's actually worn it more than I would have. I want to say that we can make it work, but it was definitely not for me like a timeless piece. But for her, it's definitely, I feel like, a timeless piece in her wardrobe. And that goes to show you that trends definitely vary by person. Next is jorts, and I have a very interesting like thing with jorts, because I remember there was a time where we saw the viral like Hailey Bieber like outfit, if I was skinny, were looked upon differently on a body like Hailey Bieber versus like, you know, on a plus size body. And however, I feel like that has definitely shifted, especially when doing videos, like even myself doing the recreating outfits I would wear if I was skinny kind of vibe. And I just think jorts are a silhouette that is timeless and classic, even very popular in the 90s. The next one is the eyebrow trend, and it was like these very fluffy eyebrows. There was a time where I was doing my eyebrows like this, and my brother did comment and was like, what's up with your eyebrows? It did not work on me, and it made me feel like please touch grass. So that's where I'm gonna put it at. The next one is bubble dresses or bubble hems. I have participated in this trend specifically, and I think the silhouette can be very interesting. I've realized for me it's not really something that I enjoy, and for that reason I think I'm just gonna put it in your basic. Hair clips are a very practical piece, and they come in various different styles. I just feel like it's a piece that is considered timeless. This one is low-rise jeans. I just want to say that I feel like jean styles are constantly evolving. So for me, I want to say that we can make it work, because I feel like I like different style of jeans in general. Next is red gingham, and I'm gonna already say that this is a timeless print. Next is this pleated skirt, which I really enjoy, and I did feel like it was something that I personally didn't see that many people wear. I know my friend Francesca owns it and did style it, and I think it's a really nice piece. So I want to say that we can make it work. The next trend is the Realization Par specific like Hercules top. I personally have the Zodiac Realization Par tee, and I feel like this top is similar to the cowboy one. I mean, again, it's a t-shirt with a print. I feel that this one was more out there than the cowgirl top, or correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm gonna put it at please touch grass, because I think for the price of this top, it is so expensive. Granted, I do think it is 100% cotton, which is what I'm okay with. I just don't think it's worth it. The next one is this like socks with heels. I immediately think it's a micro trend final boss, and I've done this as well. I just don't think it works with a lot of outfits. Next is this Mugler catsuit, and I'm just not even gonna think about it, and I'm gonna put micro trend final boss. Next is the grommet belt, and for me, I've owned a grommet belt. I'm just gonna say that it's definitely a piece that it is in rotation in my outfits. I don't think it goes with everything, so I'm just gonna put it at we can make it work. Next are the rosette like flowers that we saw everywhere, and this motif also I feel kind of the same to like the bows that you started seeing bows on every garment. So I'm just gonna put it at your basic. I do think it's relative to a specific time frame. I just feel like it'll somehow still come back around. Next is fuzzy hats, and I immediately thought of please touch grass. I do like when people wear hats. I live in a very hot climate, so it makes no sense to own a fuzzy warm hat. The other one is scarves, and for me, I would say scarves are timeless because I feel like there's multiple ways you can style it. They come in a variety of different prints, and I think this is an item you can easily thrift. I feel like it could become very unique to you, so for that reason, it is timeless. Next is the prairie dress, and I feel like this was definitely more tied to a specific aesthetic. However, I do feel like the silhouette of this style of dress is very timeless. Cow print, and I'm going to say that cow print is either a print you love or you don't love. For me, I'm gonna say that we can make it work because I don't like cow print in the sense of it being in clothing pieces. I personally like cow print as an accessory. Next is these like very mesh dresses, and for this one I'm just gonna say that it is basic. Not for me. I personally love to wear sheer pieces. I mean, I'm literally wearing a poncho that is sheer and you can still see my bra, so I do personally like this style. I just don't think it's like an everyday kind of thing that you would wear. Me, I want to say it's like we can make it work. Next is the sequins like skirt or the mother of pearl skirt, back and forth, because there is one of these skirts that I feel like is impractical. You can't sit on it or else you would break it. The sequins does work, and you know, you sit down, you're not going to break it. So I would categorize this as we can make it work. I just think it depends on the material of the specific style. Jerf fruit pattern pajamas, and if you know me, you know my whole thing with Jerf Avenue, and I'm just gonna put it at please touch grass. I do own the fruit bathrobe and I still wear it. I mean, I was wearing it earlier today, but I don't think you need to own this thing or have it. And also for the price point, it's not worth it. Next are the Aritzia pants. Style of leather pants is timeless. I just don't like it that it's faux leather. I feel like I just rather you find secondhand real leather. For that reason, I'm just gonna put it yeah basic. AirPod Maxes. I just remember these selling out consistently, and then how people were personalizing these style of AirPods. To me, it wasn't even about the sound quality. It was more about how cool or stylish you looked with the AirPod Maxes. So I'm just gonna say yeah basic. The next trend is the Balenciaga city bag. When it comes to purses, it's one of those things that, like jeans, it just depends on your preference. I will say I do think this style of bag is very practical, so I will say that it is timeless. Next is this crochet dress. I'm not sure what particular brand made this. That's how you know, because it was heavily duped by other brands. I look at it and I just think of Microtrend Final Boss, so I'm gonna leave it at that. Next are sweater vests, and I feel like the Argyle print was heavily popularized, but I don't think sweater vests in general are a silhouette that is very like micro trendy. So I'm gonna say that it's yeah basic. The pattern of Argyle was everywhere, but I feel like the silhouette is timeless, so we're gonna leave it at that. Next one is butterfly clips. This is also just like a trend that came back from the early 2000s. It has like this nostalgia factor. I don't know. I will say that I think it's yeah basic. Okay, so next is the Realization Part yellow dress. And I think Realization Part in general with their dresses often can be very trendy, but I think they're trendy for a reason. The silhouettes and the prints are timeless. Another shoe, and that is Birkenstocks. I do think that Birkenstocks are very practical. I just don't like them, so I'm just gonna say yeah basic. Chunky rings, and as you can tell, I love rings, but because of the way it was really pushed, for me anyway, I just think it is a micro trend Final Boss. And another thing too, just looking at this, is the dress from 13 and 30. It's a very specific like character based dress, and like that's what made it cool. So I just feel like it's a micro trend Final Boss for sure. Next are the front tie tops, and I think with this style you could just make it work. I don't think it's like a specific like trendiness, if you will. Either you love it or hate it. Next are corsets, and I want to say that it's your basic food related graphic tees. Lisa Says Ga is one of the brands that really does a lot of these motifs. So for me, I want to say it's yeah basic hibiscus like print. This to me is very like summer, and I do kind of like the color combinations. So I think for this one, I'm just gonna say yeah basic. Zebra print for me is timeless, so I'm just gonna put it up there. I don't even think I need to talk about it. Okay, the athletic shorts, I've done it where I've styled it, you know, for everyday wear, and it makes sense because they're so comfortable. I do think there was a time where people were starting to do very juxtapositions with the active wear, and I think it was better if you lean into kind of that active wear Adidas shorts style. So I'm just gonna say that we can make it work. Our leg warmers, and I do think that leg warmers have a purpose. It is a micro trend Final Boss. Next is the quilted bag from Coast, and it is a huge bag, and I'm all for bags that you can fit so much into and then also have different colors that you can wear them in. I think I'm just gonna put it and we can make it work. The next one are these tees, and I love when people represent things that are close to them, so I feel like it just depends on you, so I'm gonna call it we can make it work. Next are lace tights, and again, I think with the colored tights that I talked about earlier, it's a different style of tight, so I think overall it is timeless. Next are gloves, and I feel like gloves can be timeless because I think gloves are necessary based on the weather you're living, but I also just don't think a lot of people wear gloves in general. So part of me wants to say that it is a micro trend, but I also feel like it is a timeless style. So I think because of that, I'm gonna leave it as yeah basic. it's between both of them. These headbands, and can't believe how a lot of these trends have come back into the 2020s, and headbands like this is something that I wore a lot in my adolescence. So for that reason, I'm just gonna say, yeah, basic. Next is this like Marc Jacobs tote bag. And I know there's bags where I'm like, oh, it's just by preference, but this one I don't get, y'all. So this one I'm just gonna say it's a micro trend Final Boss. The Skims dress, and I just don't like Skims at all. So I'm just gonna put Please Touch Grass. This is a Naked Wolf boots, and I do like a chunky boot, and again, I think it just depends on what you like, but to me this is very micro trend Final Boss. Next are micro bangs, and this is no surprise. I think it's timeless. Yeah, I have micro bangs, not right now, but I usually do, and that's all I gotta say. Next is these exposed hem tops. That is one of my pet peeves in fashion. So for me, it's gonna be micro trend Final Boss. Barrel jeans, and like I said, when it comes to jeans, it just depends on the style, and I feel like you can own various style of jeans. So for me, I'm gonna put it, we can make it work, but it's not my favorite style of jeans. I would not purchase barrel jeans myself. Next are the Solomon hiking boots, and I do think that these shoes have a purpose. I mean, they're literally tennis shoes and they're meant for hiking, but I do think a lot of people bought them for the aesthetic of it and because they were just really popular. So I'm just gonna say that they're basic for that reason. Next is this like rhinestone style like fringe, and I'm sorry, this just immediately I think of 2010s, and I just was like, please touch grass. Same with this like knit romper. It just doesn't make sense how you can wear this, and I just can't imagine how it feels on the skin. And I've talked about how I don't like this style of romper in general, so micro trend Final Boss. Next is the House of Sunny like fur trim cardigan, and to me I feel like this silhouette I've seen a lot in the 90s, and I just think it just depends on the color and print. So for me, I will say that we can make it work. Okay, double denim. I don't even think I need to explain myself, especially if you've seen my videos. I just feel like it's a style that works really well, and it's actually one of my favorite like outfit formulas. So I'm just gonna say that it's timeless. The Miu Miu style skirt, and I just feel like this skirt was everywhere and it was styled in a very specific way. So for that reason, I'm gonna say it's micro trend Final Boss, and I also feel like it wasn't really shown on a plus size body, and it felt like a very exclusive piece for some reason. Next are these like Gucci slides. I've heard mixed reviews on how comfortable these shoes are, but for me, what the pattern that they use for these specific shoes, I'm just like, no, please touch grass. Leather bomber jackets. I personally love a leather jacket, a suede jacket. I think in the fall, in the winter, they're one of my favorite outerwear pieces to wear. I'm just gonna say it's timeless. I just think it all depends on the style of leather jacket you like. The Prada nylon bag, just don't think it's worth it for the material. Again, a lot of these luxury goods, I feel like if I'm spending the amount of money for these particular items, I want it to be really high quality materials. So for it being nylon, just not it. So then we have this like style of mesh tops, and I think I've seen different kind of prints on these. I feel like there is a resurgence of this as well, especially if you're on Whatnot and love the Euro style fashion. So I'm just gonna say, yeah, basic. This like Selkie dress, and oh my gosh, I feel like I saw almost everyone own this style of dress, and it was heavily duped everywhere. And I do think that a lot of people look great in this style silhouette. I feel like it is also very micro trend Final Boss. Next are the beaded bags, and this is also, I feel like, a silhouette and piece that I've seen in so many different forms, and for that reason I'm gonna put it in timeless. I just think it depends on what kind of color or style you like. I think pearls overall are just timeless. I think there's a different way to wear pearls. Next are these style boots, and first of all, first glance, I'm like, how do you walk in these? They look really hard. So I'm just gonna say, yeah, basic. Next is checker print, and y'all, 2021, 2022, we cannot escape the checker print. It was everywhere. I had a checker print rug. I'm just gonna call it microtrend final boss. Next is a balaclava, and I think balaclavas are specific to where you live because it just wouldn't make sense for me to have a balaclava here in Southern California. I want to say that it's something that you can make it work, not for everyone. Next are neckties, and I really like how people were adding this accessory to their outfits. I just don't think for me I would ever do that, so I just want to say yeah, basic. Okay friends, so that was me ranking all of the 2020 fashion trends, and I'm wondering how much will change in the upcoming years. And overall, I think it was really cool to look back and look at some of these because I know there were some that I owned and don't even have them in my closet anymore, and that goes to show you how quickly these fashion trends are coming in and out in general, and also how you can be influenced. And I'm one to be influenced a lot, especially as someone who is online constantly. I think this is why it's very imperative to have these videos and kind of just have the process of reflection, really thinking about the pieces that you want to have in your closet and cultivate your own style. And in order to do that, I think it's really important to have these discussions and showcase what things you don't like as much as do like. Overall, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know your ranking. I'll leave her tier list down below, so if you want to do this at home. But thank you so much for tuning in. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know other videos you'd like to see regarding fashion, and I will see you soon in a new one. Bye.